Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union. And I'm all alone in the studio, unfortunately, but we've still got Piri. In fact, we've got him, and he's on the move as we speak. Piri, where are you?
Oh, hey guys. No, I'm just in Tauranga, actually heading to watch my daughter's netball game at the Ames games, and then we'll shoot off and manage my son on the golf course when he plays his 9 holes this afternoon.
Well, can you just explain what are the Ames games?
In short, it's pretty much the Olympics of intermediate schools. They play golf, hockey, futsal, basketball, netball, ripper, rock climbing, swimming, sevens even. There's quite a bit. So it gets quite packed up here. It's not ideal for parking at the netball courts.
So your daughter's playing in the netball, and your son's playing in the golf.
Yeah, so this is our 3rd year coming up here. Our eldest girl was here for 2 years, which I was able to help out with. And then obviously this year managing my son, while our middle daughter's sort of with her team this year, netball team.
Nice. And how many games has she got?
She played 2 on Sunday, 2 yesterday, potentially 3 maybe, but definitely 2 today as well.
So you're getting towards the business end, the finals.
No, so the first couple of days they had to top their pool just to make it in the top 62 or 64, and then that's sort of like the business end there, but they didn't quite make it, so they're sort of in the B grade fighting for positions. So it kind of happens is like the lower you finish, the better you get the following year in terms of your selection on pools and who's in your pool.
Nice. Well, all the best to her, all the best to the young fella as well. Once again, we're joined by our good friend who's, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of where Piri is, Ben Searle of Searle Talk Sports. Searle, welcome aboard again.
Yeah, cheers. I actually thought when I saw Piri in the car, I thought he's already started the commute to Tasman to try and bring the Shield home with him, because we know how close he is to the team, how behind the scenes he is. I thought maybe they sent him down to pick up the log of wood ahead of this weekend. I thought that was one of the great early crows, but no, yeah, I'm good. Apologies for being a bit late this morning, lads. Got a bit going on, but we're here now, ready to rip in.
Yeah, Paulie, how come when I was late, you gave me but now that Searle's late, you're not saying anything?
Nah, because I can go to HR, Piri. You can't, so... Nah.
I see how this is.
Now, I like to treat both of you very, very fairly. So
here we go.
We'll continue on that way. I thought, well, let's start off today with a question, and we'll have a look back at the second test between the Springboks and the All Blacks very, very soon. But first of all, I just wanted to ask, should the All Blacks have a bomb squad just like the Springboks? And if they were to have a bomb squad, and by bomb squad I mean at least a 6-2 split on the bench. You could go 7-1 if you wanted to as well, but 6-2 minimum. If they did go with a bomb squad, who would be in the All Blacks bomb squad? We'll stick with you first, Searle. I'd be very, very interested to see who you would have on the bench.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think we should. I think that doesn't play into our strengths. I think our strengths is our ability to move the ball, play at tempo. We've got some good razzle-dazzle. We saw in these matchups against South Africa, our four-pack is nowhere near as big as theirs. We contest well just because that's in our DNA, but I think the 6-2 split suits the Springboks a lot more than it does us. In terms of who I would have, though, I would love to see Tossie have got a run in these last couple of games. I think his impact just off his ball carrying, obviously he's a huge body, but he's really good around the park too. And I would have loved to have seen him come on late into those games and make a real impact. It would have been interesting if Blackadder was fully healthy, if Wallace Satiti would have got a run off the bench, because I think Wallace's ability to ball carry as well late in games could be huge. And I thought we really noticed it when he left that game. We missed his ball carrying ability. He missed a few tackles on defence, but I think last 20 minutes against the tiring defence, he would be unreal. His ball playing as well, his ability to play that ball out the back really helps with our backline play too. I love Sam Derry. I would have loved to have seen him get a little bit longer than what he got on the weekend, but Tupou Vai's been playing some great footy. I think we have the ability to run just the two backs because of how versatile we are. I think Noah Hotham and Damien McKenzie would probably be those two that I would have off the bench, with Bowden Barrett moving into the starting 10 role. So, yeah, the 6-2 split for me, it's not the way we should look to go just because of the way we play our footy, but we have the ability to because of how versatile those backs are. And I think once like a Patrick Tuipulotu, someone like that is back, then that would help bolster things too. But at the moment, I think we'd struggle to have 6 really good fours just due to the injury toll. Dalton Papali'i, guys like that aren't available. So at the same time, I think Razor's hand was almost forced.
Pity. I guess Searle mentioned Wallace Satiti, and I thought he had a sensational game. I think it was his 22nd birthday. I think it was your birthday a few days ago, a day or two ago. So happy birthday to you. I know.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I know you're not 22. It wasn't your 22nd birthday.
Oh,
Is it because of the grey patch that I got on my chin why you think I'm not 21 anymore, Paulie?
right, but watching Wallace play, it did remind me of Piri Wepu, like just so dynamic, ball in hand. Like there was a lot of similarities there. The age might be different, but
just not quite as physical as
yeah.
Wallace. Yeah, I thought Wallace done a pretty good job actually. Just as carrying, even making a couple of good breaks as well. I think I can't see us, like Searle said, I can't see us trying to adapt to what the Springboks have got. I still think our skill set is not quite being utilised enough. We've seen in the past that when the boys are actually really good with executing their skill set, I feel that we're pretty dangerous, and we showed glimpses of it. We just weren't consistent enough for 80 minutes. But yeah, I wouldn't go with a 6-2 split at all, unless we were bringing an extra loose forward onto that change. But I'd probably try and keep it the same. I think the only downside to the weekend was we probably had the wrong wingers with the taking the high ball. We should have gone with Caleb Clark, I guess, but I know carrying injuries and stuff like that. But I think we just needed to be a bit more smarter in terms of our selections around that and who's pretty good in the air at taking high balls and who's not so good, and how we can sort of work harder to get to be a lot better. I know the first year when we had the Springboks doing that tactic of the aerial game, I remember we spent a lot of time taking high balls, even myself, even though when I was jumping, I didn't really look like I was getting off the ground, as opposed to our wingers and our fullbacks in that. But I guess trying to work on some of the weaknesses that the boys have and trying to turn them into a strength seems to be a lot something that we probably need to work on a bit more.
Well, there we go. I think Pity's already segued into a review of that second test against the Springboks, and I think something that Jeff mentioned last week was our propensity to play the aerial game, but it wasn't actually working our conversion rate of putting those box kicks up, those high kicks up, and then regaining possession wasn't the best. And I guess when we had to go to someone like a Sevu Reece, who isn't the biggest player on the field, it makes it just that wee bit harder to once again regain possession, Searle.
Yeah, I guess it's funny, right? Because for so long we've been calling for Will Jordan to wear the 15 jersey, but I think in hindsight, having him on the wing just for his size, bigger body, really strong in the air, then that could have been the play, because I thought as a back three as a whole that they struggled in this contest. It was interesting that we still kick a lot of ball away with that attacking mentality, even though it's not working. Our ability to adapt and change the way we're playing in game almost looked like it left us a bit there. And as a fan, that's really frustrating to see. And then I think as soon as we saw Pollard at 10 with Willie LaRue at the back, you could tell that they were going to play that aerial game to us as well. And we struggled to nullify that on their aspect too. So yeah, it was probably not the ideal back three to roll out for that type of circumstance. Mark Talia struggled a bit under the high ball as well. So yeah, it was a tough day for that back three. And South Africa, they play that aerial game so well. It was almost the worst case scenario for us.
Piri, if you have a look at the game by Cortez Ratima, you must have been fairly impressed. He's a live wire. He's got a very, very quick delivery. He didn't do too many things wrong.
Nah, I was actually pretty happy with the way Cortez played. He's obviously quick to the breakdown, quick to get rid of the ball. I feel the game plan against South Africa needs to change potentially. Maybe, I don't know. I feel having more guys in motion with his running ability, being able to taxi, come out, poke his head out, so that the defense can be held up a bit, and then obviously boys running holes to get themselves into a good position. If not, at least we're holding that front line close to the breakdown, and then we can sort of switch and go back door and shift it to the edges. I feel we haven't done that in a while. I don't know whether that's just because of the makeup of our halfbacks, but I feel when a nine is moving, it actually checks the defence a bit more. So, with his speed that he has, his delivery is good. It'll be good to see him sort of poke his head around the corner a couple of times.
Searle, once again, discipline by the All Blacks. Unfortunately, they spent, 20 minutes down to 14 men. And certainly when you have a player sent off towards the end of the game, it really, really does. It just makes it that much harder for you to chase. And they were in it for a long, long way. But that South African defense is very hard to break down. No tries.
No. And it's interesting you mentioned that, actually. I saw a stat this morning. They missed 37 tackles, the Springboks, but we didn't manage to score a try, which when you look at that amount of missed tackles in rugby straight away, you assume that would at least ran in a few. So that's testament to their goal line and their scramble D. They're always there in big numbers. So if guys do miss one-off tackles, then there's always someone else there to clean things up. But I think the point Piri mentioned there was really good too. And when you go back to watch Ireland in that second test, when they bet South Africa over in South Africa, that's what they were doing. Lots of players in motion, forwards running hard down lines, and then getting front football before playing out the back. Quite often I thought forwards were set quite deep, would play that back ball, and the Springboks were able to just shift off the back of that, push us towards a corner, and that's when they load up with that rush D and bring that line speed off the back of edges. So I do think that we have learnt a certain amount throughout these couple of games. Obviously, we saw that Australia result over the last week, so maybe we've got a good chance now to try and implement a little more around how we want to play moving forward, because, man, that Northern Hemisphere tour, obviously we just lost within 7 points twice to the best team in the world, so you don't want to panic too much, but I think it was the way that we had the game there right on the knife edge both times, and we just weren't able to quite execute it. You look ahead at that Northern tour, and hopefully the lads are taking some good learnings out of this, because I'd love to see us sweep that tour, but at the same time, it's going to be really tough against some quality teams. And all of a sudden you lose 2 or 3 over there, and the New Zealand media is going to be going hard for the lads, whether you agree with that or not. They're going to feel some pressure big time.
Did Newell get injured at all?
I don't know.
No. Well, my biggest part of that is you're starting prop playing freaking 70 minutes.
Yeah.
So for me, your bench is usually your energy bunnies, the other ones that bring the game home. So I was very interested to see Tyrell out there for such a long time, going up against a solid freaking scrum, and having to make tackles for such a long time. It's not easy for a prop to be out there for that long at test level. So maybe that's something else that they need to look at as well. Is just around their substitution and making sure that they get the right guys in at the right time. I think the first test, I think they subbed the front row within the first 10 minutes of the second half. Maybe they could have pushed that out a bit more, and definitely should have rolled on their front rows a bit earlier.
So, for those who don't know, Piri lives just down the road from Tyrell over there in Wainui. So I'm guessing that he's
in South Africa, bro. He's in South Africa.
Well, you got a call from him or something. He sent you a text message. Can't believe it. 70 minutes, bro. I hear you.
Nah. It's more. I've with all the years of myself playing with at test level, we've always worked hard that our backbone is our bench. The other ones to try and take us to that next level, speed the game up, and not only that, continue what the pack have already done and what the rest of our starters have done, and try and maintain that level. And even myself playing bloody 70 minutes was a tough ask for me. I wasn't the fittest guy, but when I do have to play long minutes, there were some times that I would make bloody mistakes. So having those guys pulling them off a bit earlier sort of helps them, helps us with fresh legs, fresh lungs, and obviously the boys thinking a bit better as well.
Oh, he's frozen in time.
No.
He's gone all rural on us. We'll go back to you, Searle, while Piri sorts out his Wi-Fi connection. Oh, here he is. He's back
there he
again.
is, sorry. I was like, oh no, I'm in 4G. What's going on? So yes, fresh legs is what they needed earlier.
If we look at the two tests, there were similar sort of patterns across both of them. The All Blacks got out to a bit of a lead. The Springboks came back in the second half. There was a yellow card or two late in the game. So, like Searle said, we're playing against the number one team in the world over there, and they're home. And we only lost by 4 in the first test, 6 in the second test, with a number of players out. So it's not all bad news, and there's a lot that the team can build on. But the overall record, if you had said before Razor started his coaching career, that they would have lost 3 games in the first 7 tests, you would have been slightly surprised, Searle?
Yeah, I think we did those predictions, didn't we, before everything kicks off? And I think all of us had us losing 1 or 2 games this whole season. And that's not completely down to Razor or anything like that. We're playing quality sides away from home. And I do genuinely believe as well, South Africa are in a real period at the moment where their rugby is just at an all-time level. They've got a stacked team. They've got great depth, great leadership, and they're playing unreal footy at the moment. So it's a bit of that as well as us still just finding our feet. We had 7 or 8 guys playing in South Africa for the first time at any level. That is tough to do, let alone at international level, and the cauldrons that they face. Like, those South African fans are so passionate. So there are excuses that you can make for this team. At the same time, though, as All Blacks fans, it's rare that we lose 2 games in a row and it goes down well. So you can understand why people are starting to look at this a little bit harshly. The same time, year 1 in a 4-year World Cup cycle, once you put it all into perspective, I think you can still take some positives out of it for sure.
Piri, we're building a wee bit of depth with the team that they've taken over there. I thought Cortez Ratima was good. We've got Cam Roigard to come back once he's fully fit. Sam Darry has stepped up. We've got Patrick Tuipolotu to come back. So there is a wee bit of, I guess, firepower still to come into this All Black squad.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you've even add in Peter Lakai, who probably missed out from the first selection. I think we're, like Celia said, we shouldn't have to panic too much in terms of these 2 losses. Not everything's going to be perfect first year under the new management. And it's a lot of learnings to be had. But I mean, obviously, we're building to the next World Cup, and so they've got to make their as many or bleed as many players as they can, so that when they get to the big stage, like the quarterfinals and all that, they're sort of prepared well enough. But yeah, I think we're depth-wise, I think we're looking pretty good. Maybe one position we might be a bit thin on might be our 10. Obviously, we're going with DMAC and Bodie's there, but it'd be good to have an out-and-out 10 as opposed to a utility 10 that can play 15 or 15 that can play 10. It would be good just to have someone that can run the ship properly. The likes of like Plummer, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it would be good just to have someone that they can consistently be in the 10 jersey as opposed to be swapping our 2 fullbacks, one coming off the bench, going either fullback or pushing them into 10. So it'd be good just to have an out and out 10.
Searle, Piri brings up a good point. The 10 jersey, where we have been blessed for the past 20, 30 years with world-class first 5/8s. Who do you want to see? Do you want to see Razor continue with DMAC? Do you want to see Bodie get another run there? Plummer? Do we see someone like a Ruben Love, who's been playing fullback in Super Rugby but has played first 5? Well, I saw the shake of the head there. So which way are you leaning?
Well, it's tough, right? Because I think as a first 5, in order to succeed at any level, you need time. You need to be able to be in control of a team and establish yourself as that leader that the team follows for, 4 to 6 weeks, maybe even longer. And now everyone's calling for Bodie to go back into the 10 jersey and for DMAC to go back onto the bench and bring that impact that he brings. And to be fair, probably around now is when you'd expect DMAC to feel comfortable in that 10 jersey after a few games back in the saddle, because it's been a while since he played there consistently at international level. I think Richie Mo'unga is obviously the name that everyone keeps bringing up, but we saw just last week New Zealand Rugby come out and say that they're not changing that eligibility rule in the meantime anyway, so that's not an option. He's obviously the guy that if you could bring anyone straight in, he would slot straight back into that team, and under Razor would be the perfect match. I think they'll go with Bodie and then have DMAC off the bench. But Harry Plummer showed throughout Super Rugby behind a dominant forward pack, which is my only caveat, is if you threw him in that Springboks game on the weekend against a bigger pack, he's used to almost being behind the Springboks pack in Super Rugby. That Blues pack was huge. They dominated every collision, and he put them in the right areas. It'd be interesting to see how he went with a forward pack that wasn't quite dominating. But yeah, I think we need to pick and stick. So we need to decide what we're going to do. Is Bodie going to be at the next World Cup? I'm not so sure. Obviously, he's a little bit older than DMAC. So yeah, it's a tough decision for them because we need to establish some continuity now in that 9-10 once Roigard is back healthy, because that's the combination that can win you a game.
Right. We take a break this week from the Rugby Championship before we get into the All Black Wallaby tests and, of course, Argentina and South Africa. So let's just touch on the Wallabies and Argentina, because that second test was one of the most ridiculous games of rugby I've ever seen. Wallabies got out to a 17-point lead, held the lead at halftime, a narrow lead with Los Pumas just scoring just on the stroke of halftime. And then the second half was was almost like a training run for Argentina. What do you take out of that, Piri? And if you're a Wallaby supporter, what do you take out of that?
To be fair, Paulie, I didn't even bloody watch, mate. I saw the. To be honest, I don't want to buy of it. Just because they're not really in the running in terms of, I guess, placings. Like I was more looking forward to us actually trying to win this competition by winning on Saturday, which obviously didn't happen, and then obviously would have to chase these wins with bonus points and things like that. So, I was kind of banking on the boys to get the job done against the number one team in the world, to give them an opportunity to actually still have a chance of being successful throughout this campaign, because I don't think that, they've played terribly bad, but they just haven't quite finished those two tests. So, yeah, that wasn't really. I don't really pay much attention to it, but I did see that the scoreline did blow
Searle.
up.
So we'll go to you.
Exactly
We'll
that.
go
What
to
the
you
hell happened?
because that was just a crazy game. And in that second half, Argentina basically just waltzed in almost at will, scoring tries.
Yeah, I think, 50 points to 7, the second half score, which is pretty wild. And when you factor in that the Wallabies bet them in the final minute the week before, you can hardly say that this Wallabies team hadn't been finishing games. I thought that second half from Argentina was the perfect mix of playing at pace and then bringing that physicality as well. Their loose forward trio, when they're on, they can change the game. And then I thought their first five played that beautiful mix of just pinning the Aussies into their half, forcing them into mistakes. And they've got some razzle out wide. So I think we can take a bit of that into our game as well, because when you talk about the All Blacks and how we want to play, I think we need to play at pace. And then we can bring physicality, but we're not going to dominate teams up front for the full 80 minutes. So perhaps they laid that template there of how we should look to play moving forward as well, using that razzle, pinning teams long into corners, forcing them into mistakes, still doing well in that set piece and physicality area, but then using that talent we have. Because when you look at that All Blacks backline, on paper, there should be barely any teams in the world that can go with us there. So perhaps we just need to play to our strengths a little bit more.
I guess if we look at it now, the trophy cabinet's getting a wee bit sparse for the All Blacks. The Freedom Cup, no. The World Cup, no. So the Bledisloe Cup, that just makes it even more. The pressure goes on now. This is. I mean, we've held it for such a long time. It's almost. I guess I'm not saying that it's just we just think, well, we just turn up and we win. But the Wallabies haven't really got close to us the last few years. So, but there's a lot more emphasis on this Bledisloe Cup. The pressure is on. The guys have got another week to plan for that first test against the Wallabies, but the Wallabies will be hurting after that thrashing, and I'm sure they'll come out fighting. And we'll have a little preview of that Wallabies All Blacks test next week. But all of a sudden, the Bledisloe Cup becomes a whole lot more important.
Oh, big time. And imagine if they'd won that game on the weekend. The whole narrative would have been that the Wallabies are coming in off the back of winning back-to-back games in Argentina. The All Blacks are on a 2-game losing streak. Like the narrative, the Joe Schmidt up against his country, that would have been all go. So in a way, as an All Blacks fan, I'm relieved that they lost that game, because all of a sudden that would add even more pressure, because then the Wallabies would be talking up their chances too. But I think it's a 5:30 kickoff around that New Zealand time in a couple weeks' time from Sydney. Hopefully the sun's out and we see an exciting brand of football. But like you said, we've got 2 weeks to prepare for this now, and you can do a lot in 2 weeks. I'm sure the players will get a bit of time off before they reassess, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a fairly different style of play from the All Blacks. I'm looking forward to this one. Like you said, in the past, it's been a walkover, but there's one thing we all know about Razor, and he's been vocal on it. He hates losing, and he will have this team up for it, that's for sure, because you can excuse 2 losses to South Africa and South Africa. We were really angry when they lost to Argentina here because you don't expect that, but we won't cop a loss to Australia, whether that's away or at home. People expect to see the All Blacks beat the Wallabies, and if they can pull off the upset, then they will be up and about in a major way.
Righty-ho, it looks like we've got Piri back. He's paid his bills. But while we've got you, any whispers from Wainui this week?
Not so much from Wainui, but I heard that tomorrow there's going to be 5 debutantes for Storm Week for the Lions. Don't ask me who they are because that part I don't know, but I know that they are prepping really well for Storm Week this week, leading into lifting the log of wood, hopefully on Saturday. Right.
It's interesting, actually. Can I just jump in there? Because I got that same whisper. So I jumped on Otago to get up at $3.80. I jumped back on later last night and they were paying $2.60. So Piri's been whispering far and wide and the words got out and someone's got in on Otago in a major way.
Well, I think it was fairly obvious, and you're right. Otago were 10.5 point underdogs when I looked yesterday, and I had another look this morning, and they'd moved into 6.5 point underdogs. So that if you took the plus 10.5 on Otago, I think you're well on the way to a very, very good bet, because it was almost.
Well, I don't know here, guys, because my bet is I'm going to back for multi. I'm going to back Wellington to win tomorrow, and then they're going to lift the log of wood.
The double.
Well, we're going to have a look at some NPC games very, very soon, but let's just have a look back at last week. And as you said, Searle, the Shield is gone south. Tasman with a last-minute penalty from just inside the Hawke's Bay half. Got up, was it 25-24? So, look, it was a great Shield game. If you're going to take the Shield, then you've got to, well, the old adage is you've got to play Shield rugby. You've got to, I don't want to say throw the ball round willy-nilly, but you've actually got to play some positive rugby, and that's what Tasman did. And to be fair to Hawke's Bay, they put up a fantastic fight and a brilliant defense, just wasn't quite good enough in the end, Searle.
Yeah, it was an exciting game to watch, right? 19-5 at halftime, and Tasman have been so good all year. They've got so much quality in that side. You kind of thought the game was done, but Hawke's Bay refused to roll over, took the lead late, and then up steps the man who's had a pretty tough, 12 months. He was over, I think, at the Western Force, had a hamstring injury, a really bad one. And so barely got some minutes there, then comes on off the bench late and just clutches it. As a goal kicker, those are the moments you dream of, but also the ones you dread, because if you don't knock it over, then you go from hero to zero. But well done to them. I feel sorry for them having Wellington straight up first off, because surely you're celebrating that till Thursday, Friday day off, Saturday captain's run, and then you're up against the other undefeated team in the competition. It's a pretty tough turnaround, and you don't want to be that team that only has the Shield for a week either. As great as it is to win it, you don't want to lose it in your first defence, because that's almost pretty embarrassing too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this weekend, but well done to Tasman. So cool to see them win it, and so cool to see what NPC footy and the Ranfurly Shield means to communities. Like we saw at the airport, we saw them in that little parade they did down there. It shows that patriotism that you have to your NPC side and how much winning the Shield wins to a place like Nelson too. Like if that was Super Rugby, I doubt you get people out there, but because it's NPC and it means so much at a grassroots level, it's cool to see the loggerwood on the road being passed around a little. I reckon that's when NPC's at its best.
Piri, you would have played in, I'm not sure how many Shield challenges or Shield defences you would have played in. I think that was a period where Wellington struggled to get a hold of the Shield. Can you just take, were you part of a successful challenge or a successful sort of defensive stretch?
My first ever challenge was against Canterbury, and I was quite young and didn't quite understand what the loggerwood was until that week. And then, you know, we were getting absolutely murdered by Canterbury, only for us to actually turn everything around and actually play the footy that we wanted to play. And we ended up drawing the game, but obviously draw doesn't mean that you get to take the loggerwood home, does it? So, no, it wasn't a very successful day, but it was a great, I guess, atmosphere and experience. I was fortunate enough in 2008 to lift it as captain against from Auckland. And who do you think we challenged the following week? Who come up for a challenge the following week?
Canterbury?
No, the current holders now.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was funny because the boys are like, "Oh, I'm partying all week. This is awesome." And I'm like, "No, mate. It's one thing winning it,
Yeah.
but it's another thing holding it and locking it away for the summer." And so I think we only had one challenge, which was Tasman, and I think we just won by 1 or 2 points. I put it down to the boys just celebrating too much.
Well, let's hope that Tasman have been celebrating a whole lot over the last few days. I'm going to guess that's not the case. Another game from last week. Well. Auckland finally picked up their win, and we can blame Piri Wipu for that. I think he said Harbour was going to win last week. He put the mockers on them.
Oh, hang on. What was your hunch last week, Paulie?
It was about an elephant, but unfortunately, I don't think the elephant has anything to do with Auckland anymore. It's a potato.
Pretty sure you were mocking Harbour and saying Harbour weren't going to win.
Well, talk about last minute wins. We saw it again here, and Harbour had the game in their hands. I think it was in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and I think there was a loose ball, and I saw one of the Harbour reserve forwards. Instead of diving on it, he kicked it forward, and Auckland got possession back, and then there were a few phases, and next thing you know, they're off and gone. Try time. Searle, what happened there?
Hang on, mate. You're missing probably the biggest controversy in New Zealand rugby from over the weekend. You talk about a Harbour loose forward not diving on the ball. What about that Auckland halfback? He used all the sweat within the Auckland region. Then I think he got the water bottle out, but the cameraman quickly cut away. Doesn't give the ball to Bryn Hall until the ref's called time back on. He picks it up, goes to change it, and a free kick. I was going to ask Piri, mate, you halfbacks are tricky, but that's got to be one of the best moves that's ever been pulled. Because I've seen halfbacks stand on the opposite halfback's foot when they put the ball in, then they go to run to the back of the scrum and they trip over, things like that. But I've never seen ball sweat, not literally, but putting sweat on the ball used to throw off another team and earn a free kick. That's got to be all time, Piri.
That's one of the oldest tricks in the book.
Oh, there we go.
They usually, like, when some of the other ones is like from kickoff, you get a dry ball. So what you do is you just roll it on the grass when it's wet, so that the opposition, if they go and try and take it above their heads, at least it's going to slip through like a bit of soap and hit them on the melon, and then you get the ball back. But come on, man, that's one of the oldest tricks in the book.
We were robbed, mate. It's controversy. They should strip them of the points, give it to Harbour. It's not in the fair play. I never thought I'd speak about fair play, but if it's Auckland beating Harbour, then we're all for fair play, mate. Flip the result. We were robbed.
I don't think it's going to change, but I support you in your I guess how you. It was just unfortunate, I guess. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to bring bad memories for you, Searle, but it looks like Auckland have bragging rights over the Battle of the Bridge for another season, and just unfortunate how that turned out for Harbour. If we look ahead to this week, a couple of big games. Waikato hosting Hawke's Bay. It'll be interesting to see how Hawke's Bay bounce back after losing the Shield. Still plenty to play for here. We haven't got the odds out for that. Oh, actually,
No, we do.
we do. Waikato, slight outsiders at home. They're $2. Hawke's Bay are $1.75. If you have a look at that, Searle, do you think Hawke's Bay can put that loss behind them and get back on that winning streak once again?
Yeah, you'd obviously be really gutted, right? I think that would be their number one priority this year, or their number one goal was probably to defend the Shield and go the season in doing so. They have a really tough run home, but there's no better way to bounce back than with a big win on the road as well. So I'm sure they're looking forward to this one just as an opportunity for redemption. But at the same time, it would almost feel like you'd lost the final, right? Like in terms of NPC, it's probably Loggerwood and the championship that sit pretty evenly in terms of priorities for teams and what they'd like to win. So, yeah, they'll be gutted, but they're a quality football side and they won't want to lose 2 games on the bounce. So they'll be looking to get one back for sure.
Now, for you, Piri, look, Waikato have been going okay this season, but Hawke's Bay have played very, very well. The problem for them is, I think the back end of the season, their sort of schedule gets a wee bit tougher. But without the Shield, they can just focus on the NPC, making it into the business end of the season, and hopefully going one better than they did last year.
Yeah, I was actually, I've been sort of following Waikato a little bit, only because my little cousin's part of that squad in Ngātai. But it's like you said, it'd be very interesting to see how Hawke's Bay go now. There's obviously wanting to still try and push on to give themselves a better position on the table to host potentially in the playoffs. But I mean, if you can't back up and learn from last week's loss, then obviously all they really cared about was the log of wood. When it's not just that, you never know if everything pans out the way that they want it. If the Shield gets lifted this week, and because I know some people like to calculate, we need these guys to win it off them so that we get another crack. You never know. There might be an opportunity for the Magpies to actually get another crack at it and lock it away.
Right. Well, let's have a look at that Shield challenge. And we don't have odds out for that yet, with Wellington still to play Wednesday night down in Otago. But because of the whispers that we're getting from Piri around 5 or 6 debutants for Wellington in that match against Otago, it would suggest that come Sunday, Wellington are going to have a full-strength side out there to take on Tasman in that Shield challenge, Searle.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too. What are the All Blacks going to be available this week, or guys that haven't been playing? Does a Ruben Love, does a Billy Proctor become available? Does David Harville, Noah Hotham become available for Tasman too? I would love to see it, just because it pushes. This game already is quality, but that pushes it up another notch too. I'd love to see those guys who didn't take the field in South Africa get an opportunity to blow some cobwebs out and have a run and push their name for selection too in these games coming up against Australia. So I'm really keen to see these teams be named. This is a great game though. Wellington, you said, resting a couple. They're targeting the Shield. They want to win it back. Had it last year, I think it was, and then lost that too. So, yeah, and Tasman won't want to be that team that just wins it and then has it for less than a week. So this is going to be a heck of a game. Even without the Shield, it's a top-of-a-table clash, and that just adds way more spice. So I'm looking forward to this one. But hopefully we see some All Blacks too. I reckon that would push it up another notch.
Oh, maybe Piri can give us a wee bit of inside information there as well around Yeah. Oh, he does. He knows something, all
No,
right.
I don't. I don't.
He
What,
does.
I don't know anything about that.
what about Cam Roygard? How far away is he from playing again? Surely he'd want to gallop with Wellington before.
No, he's counties. He's counties,
Yeah,
mate.
Oh,
I
he's
don't
He's,
know.
sorry.
Yes, I was just about to say, you're talking about the wrong end of the island there, brother.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
well, I think he's close though, right? He posted up. He ran a 4:29 Bronco the other day, which I don't think I could do that fully fit with years of training, let alone fresh off an ACL surgery. So he must be. I think he's only 2 or 3 weeks away. He said he's hoping to play the last couple rounds. So.
Look, I'm glad you brought up the Bronco because Piri ran the Bronco in match fit a few weeks ago. I don't think he was, what was it, 4 minutes and, what did you say, 20-something seconds?
It definitely wasn't that.
No, no. But with match fit, we couldn't talk to you about it last week because you were out and about, but you finally played the game against the Aussies, one half under rugby union rules, one half under rugby league rules. And in the end, the boys in black were just far too good, Pity.
Oh, look, I think like it definitely felt like a gentleman's agreement where everyone was making sure that we come off in one piece. No one wanted to try and smash anyone. No one wanted to be limping off, and no one wanted to be holding any arms or limbs to make sure that they were able to lift their own family and give a hug and walk off in one piece. But no, it was awesome, awesome concept. The hybrid game. Uh, Obviously, we'd done it earlier on against the East Coast, and they got it wrong. They played rugby in the first half, and then they played league. So by the time they got to the league, the boys were absolutely shattered. So they this time around they got it right. They decided to play league, which was not as much running, and then obviously play rugby in the second half. But I said to the boys, because we talked about a game plan and just trying to make the boys understand a bit better, and obviously with the league boys, you can make things easier by just using what they're good at. So we ended up playing. We tried to play quad two, so just working with two forwards together with a back behind them. That way, those leaguers were used to that kind of stuff and ball playing and things like that. So made things simple and easy, and but it was good fun. It was great to see some legends from both sides come over and make the trip. So yeah, it was me.
Oh, you say there was a gentleman's agreement. What? I don't think Leslie Vinacolo can actually run slow or
Yeah.
not smash anyone.
I said to him, if you keep doing that, Doko, I think this is going to end up to be a lot more physical than we anticipated.
There's always one, eh? There's always one at training. You're like, right, boys, this is just two-hand touch, no contact. Straight away, someone gets flattened, and then it's all go, and it's harder than a game. It's the way.
Oh, well, Paul Miller had the back fence opportunity, and I know Oga from when he was playing loved to carry the ball. So when he got it, I'm thinking, please, Oga, do not channel your inner back fence, my bro. I'm keen just to play cuddles today and walk off in one piece, my bro.
Well, it was a great finish to the season. Looking forward to hopefully it coming back next season with another match fit.
Well, I hope that if they do decide to do it again, I've definitely not putting my hand up. Surely I've graduated and get my certificate. It's my third time round. Obviously Buncey's done it a couple of times as well. But I mean, surely I get my certificate to say congratulations, mate. You're fine.
Well, surely, if they do pick you for another season, they pick someone else from Wellington as well. So you got a training buddy to work with as opposed to by yourself.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It looked like a lot of fun. Righty-ho, let's get hunch time. I don't know. Searle, have you got a hunch for this week?
Oh, do I have a hunch for this week? I'm trying to think of something on the spot. Maybe cut to Piri and I'll see what the brain can cook up quickly.
No, I don't do hunches, bro.
What?
I did my first one, and that was it. After that, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that again.
Something to do with Wellington, surely.
Ah, no, I'm not even going to bloody.
He
I've
doesn't want
done.
to curse them.
Look, I don't exactly. No, I've done enough talking about it. I don't want to, elaborate anymore.
Paulie, it's all on you, mate.
Oh no, I don't want. I'm going to stay away from a hunch this week.
Oh,
I don't want to put any sort of mockers on any team this week. So I hope the best team wins in every single game this weekend in NPC.
I'll ask you this then.
Yep.
A Mako shark takes
Yep.
on a lion in a fight.
Yep.
Obviously quite different habitats there, but who are you backing?
Oh, well, the king of the jungle, obviously. What happens is the lion jumps into the sea, grabs the shark by the tail, pulls it onto land, game over, all done.
Sheepers, that's like a Fast and Furious 12 movie. That could be coming out shortly. That's as believable as the stunts that they pull off on there, mate. I don't know. I think the lion could be in a bit of curry if it tries to venture into the sea, surely.
Well, cats, they're pretty clever, those bloody cats. They're very, very tricky. A wee bit like halfbacks, to be fair.
Oh, no, you had to go there again. Hey, leave Harbour out of this one, mate. That was beyond the good of the game. Auckland should be docked points.
Rightio, let's have a look at the punting and how we went last week. And it was ugly, to be fair. Goldie, he had a go for Piri, and he had the All Blacks to win by 1-12. Looking pretty good at halftime. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get over the line there. Searle had a couple of bets. He also had the All Blacks 1-12. And then he had a multi, Waikato to win, Harbour plus 11.5, Otago to win, and Tasman to win. One too far away, but no chocolates there either. And then I had, who did I have? Oh, I had the Wallabies to beat Argentina. And when they were up 20 points to 3, I thought, oh, gee, here's another win.
Easy money. Easy money.
It's in the bag, but unfortunately, no. So
that just shows more than ever that the Paulie curse is alive and real, because the fact that they were up by that much and went on to lose the second half, 50 points to 7, maybe they got word that you were on them at half time. Live bet.
Oh, the TAB's throwing us under the bus, guys.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that earlier, because now I'm going to back Harbour every single
game. No, we can't lose to the Turbos, surely. I'm leaving them out of my multi just to be safe.
Okay, well, we'll stay with you, Searle. What are you going to do with your $100 this week?
Okay, I am going to go Otago on a plus 10.5 line against Wellington. Obviously, I think that they should get up with Wellington resting that amount of players, but Piri's chat on the back-to-back has me a little bit worried. So that's the Wednesday night game, Otago plus 10.5 into Auckland to beat Northland, because I think Harry Plummer will hopefully lace up there. I've got Bay of Plenty on a plus 7.5 line against Taranaki. And then I've got K Banks to score on the wing for North Harbour. The bloke's literally a walking green tick on a bet slip at the moment, so hopefully I haven't cursed him. And he can dot down for me. Obviously, team's not named, but that multi without Cade, and it has $2.95, so chuck a try score in there. I think we'll get around $4.
Rightio. Piri, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going pretty easy. I'm going with 50 on Welly to go back to back. And then I'm going to go with Peter scoring a try in both of those games. So 50 on that.
So hold on. I need to get this down properly. You're taking Wellington to beat Otago and Wellington to beat Tasman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that you're not going to be able to place that bet, because the odds for the Tasman game won't be out until after the Otago game finishes. So you may
Paulie,
have to... Yeah.
I did that the other week, and you had no dramas with it, so we're going with it. We're going with it.
Two singles.
We're going with it.
He wants to parlay his winnings from Wednesday night into the Shield.
That sounds a bit better. Okay, we'll go with it. I still like Otago.
Oh no!
I like Otago.
Yes!
They've beaten Auckland. They've beaten Bay of Plenty. They went close against Taranaki.
Sorry, who's that first team you said? Who's that first team you said?
Auckland.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
They're a good team, Otago. So I'm going to take them head-to-head against Wellington. They're 260 now. Would have loved to have taken the 380. That's disappeared. So I'm going to take Otago to beat Wellington at $2.60. And I also like the look of Hawke's Bay to bounce back against Waikato. So a little double for me. Otago and Hawke's Bay both to win this weekend. Bang. Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple, right?
Well, that was that easy, eh? I'm just cashing out my Otago head-to-head bet as we speak.
It doesn't look like the guys have got the promotions up for this week, but I'm sure there'll be something for punters to get stuck into. There's always the oval ball mega multi at the moment, so you can get stuck into that. And of course, there's the American Sport mega multi with the NFL season kicking off, started this weekend. Of course, we've got a big Monday night football matchup between last year's Super Bowl losers, the San Francisco 49ers, taking on Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. I think San Francisco around $1.45. The Jets were around $2.80. So looking forward to that game later on.
Nailed it.
That's it. We've done it again, boys. Piri, good luck with the netball. Good luck with the golf. And are we going to see you back in studio next week?
Next week? Yep, definitely. Most definitely, mate. I'm over bloody travelling.
Searle, well, I'm guessing you're not going to be at netball or golf. Maybe you might be playing a bit of golf.
Oh, I'd love to play a bit of golf if anything's available. Let me know. But yeah, I think Piri won't be here next week because Tasman are going to defend the Shield, and he only comes on when Wellington wins. So yeah, hey, someone's got to show up. So either that, or he'll still be drinking with the boys, the Wainui Whisperer. He'll be in the mixer with them. So
I think Shirley's still a bit salty about the weekend, especially you putting the mockers on them, Paulie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This week I've put the mockers on both Hawke's Bay and Otago. I'm sure they'll get through it though anyway. So once again, thanks for joining us here on the Pick and Go, and we'll be back again next week with another edition of the Pick and Go.